Hello, everybody. Inquirers, welcome to Eating Peace this week and this most fascinating and interesting time of stressful thoughts appearing in our reality through seeing what's ever happening in the world. And very, very powerful thought that you may have noticed hasn't existed only in this particular time. And that is the belief I won't have enough. So the Eating Peace Immersion group was working on that this morning, taking a close look, and it's so interesting. I won't have enough. I won't have enough money. I won't have enough food. I won't have enough time. I won't have enough love. I won't have enough agency, as somebody mentioned. I won't have enough rest and relaxation. What's interesting to notice about this particular thought is that when we believe it's possible to not have enough, where's your proof? Usually in the past. Other stories that you've heard about, learned about, understood, been aware of in the past, or your own experience of not having enough. And just look at what we've done when it comes to food and eating, all that volatile food and eating, like starving ourselves, actually not having enough because we're following a rigid diet or restricting or being weird, being OCD with food. Not having enough is a state of experience, self-imposed. It's like I didn't have enough and I shouldn't have had enough. I actually needed to not have enough. That's the only way to manage or stay sane or not eat too much. When I believe that there's not enough of something and not enough is possible about any condition or quality, I believe too that there's too much is also very possible. Things can be totally out of control, way too much for me to handle, too much for me to work with. There can be too much of that same quality that I think there isn't enough of. There's also too much of it, depending on what you're looking at. So let's just find it's noticing this experience of the way we think about food and eating, the way we felt about our bodies can match quite a bit of what we've seen in the world, like our conversation with reality, how we are relating to what happens. Dangerous, got to be careful, got to control yourself, need to watch out. Things are scary out there. Danger, 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 danger. It's not safe. I need to be a certain way in order to be successful or accepted or not rejected. I need to be thin in order to be happy. Just watching that stream of thinking. And right now, what's happening with this whole virus business, right? Here we are in this whole fascinating time. And a lot of fears peaking, rising up about death and dying, really. Disease, ailments, pain, suffering. I won't be able to breathe. What will that be like? I won't have enough air. There won't be a long enough life. I won't have enough time here. So let's just take it through inquiry and see. Just having a lot of compassion for the self and all that imagining. And I know the mind might even say, this is not imagination, it's real, it's happening. We're not necessarily breaking out that something's wrong with the mind, but we're taking a look at what feels so painful and stressful, right? Because that seems to occur in this reality. So I won't have enough. I don't have enough. I didn't have enough before. But just noticing from the place you are right now, I won't have enough of fill in the blank. Even though it was the Eating Peace Immersion group this morning and people were doing it on food, others were doing it on money. Some was doing it on love, attention, just one at a time in a way. I've had the thought coursing through my own mind of there won't be enough money later for so many different reasons. Okay, how do you react? First of all, is it true? Is it true that you will not have enough? There won't be enough. Is that true? Only you can answer the question. You might say, yes, 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 yes. I've heard about it in the news. I see it out there. I'm looking at the situations. There's a lot of threat. I don't feel safe. Can you absolutely know that you will not have enough? Find a situation when you really didn't have enough before of this same thing. It's almost like that beautiful question. Where's your proof? Where's your proof that not enough is possible? You might see in your past, well, I didn't have enough then. So you just answer the question honestly as best you can. Can you absolutely know it's true? You won't have enough. I love that the answer, I don't know, for me is a no. I don't know. I could potentially have enough. There's a crack of potential for there will be enough. And I also noticed that I made it through anything that I ever thought I didn't have enough of in the past. I'm still here. I survived. I made it out alive, apparently. I'm still conscious, here, awake. So, where's the line of true not enoughness? Is it death? Even that's, I don't know. Interesting, right? Suffering. But noticing so far, that's an interesting answer. Is it absolutely true that I didn't have enough of something? Well, it seemed like it at the time, but as it turned out, something changed and something became different. And then this happened and then that happened. And now I'm here. So I guess I didn't have the ultimate not enoughness because here I am. I just like noticing that. So, what happens? How do you react when you believe I won't have enough? I didn't have enough. It's not enough. How do you react when you believe that thought? Somebody wrote on my Facebook page, hoarding comes in, or wanting to overbuy, or wanting to grab, and wanting to make sure I gather as much possible here, right now in the present, like squirrels do, because it's going to be winter. Winter is coming. There's going to be some sort of threat later that I need to prepare for. In the future, I don't know when, but since there's a potential, I gather now. But are we doing it fearfully or just practically? And the squirrel does it because it's kind of hooked up that way. Maybe we're hooked up that way too, but a lot of stress in thinking about when I think I won't have enough, I might just go and go overboard. I have found this to be true about food and eating. If I think there won't be enough food, even if part of me believes I'm supposed to not be having too much food, and it's enforced by myself, by a diet plan or something, I start to feel hungry. Just notice psychic hunger, emotional hunger, hunger. I won't have enough. I won't have enough. That thought causes people to finish everything on their plate when they think they might not have some food later on. Just go ahead and eat it now, even though I'm no longer hungry and I'm satisfied. Start to mistrust a sense of satisfaction in the moment. I won't have enough. I won't have enough. Just noticing how scary that thought is, how frightening it can be. So, who would you be without the story? Who would you be if you weren't able to think, oh my God, I won't have enough later? And just come back to this present moment right now, noticing where you are, your environment, the room you're in. I notice every single day I'm sitting in the same chair right here that I usually sit with all day long, working with people on Zoom. I already was doing that in my life. It happened to be an online, practice that I do, running groups on Zoom, working with it. Same chair, same quiet room, kind of a quiet little street, same wind chimes making their sounds outside, depending on if the wind is blowing or not. Spring is still happening. In some ways, my particular life, not that much has changed. Now, I know some of you life has really changed because you used to go to an office every day and now you're at home. Whether you're working or not, your environment is quite different. I have a sister who's all day at home and needing to, what she spoke of as, set stronger boundaries because there's family about and there's movement and there's a dog and there's kind of activity. So things are different. There's learning happening. But without the belief, there isn't enough space, time, money, food. Just noticing some sense of relaxation. The mind will say, you can't relax right now. Be nervous, be nervous. You have to worry, you have to worry. And notice what that's like when we think that about food, eating, following the rules, doing it right, doing it wrong. I just noticed when I had the belief there won't be enough, even though I'm imposing that on myself, because I did impose that on myself, I think I'll do it again later in the future. It's almost like I don't trust myself. I think there won't be enough food because I actually experienced there not being enough food because I was starving myself. So I start to want to hoard and grab and gather and focus on this thing that there's not going to be enough of. Like kicks into gear. Okay, so who would you be without the thought? Just resting, relaxed, noticing satisfaction, or just noticing that you're okay. I'm okay in this moment. Quiet room, looking out the window. Let's turn the thought around. And as many of you know, turnarounds are just finding every angle, other ways to work with the same belief, the mindset that we have, and looking at it differently, changing it. I will have enough. Complete simple opposite. Could that be just as true? Did I have enough? Easiest way to do that is because it's in a made up future, so it's kind of tricky. But just watching the thought imagines a future where you won't have enough. Thought imagining a future where you will have enough. Could that be just as true? They're both imagined. Might be more fun to imagine having enough. But one way to make the mind so it's not just positive made up thinking, negative made up thinking, is to look at those times when you really believed you didn't have enough of something. I can really remember believing I didn't have enough money. Didn't have enough money. I'm losing everything. I'm losing everything. Remembering that time and sitting with it, I did have enough. I did have enough money, even though I only had $10.16 left in my bank account. And a bill due with a mortgage for $1,800, something crazy like that. So much of a difference, such a huge gap, I thought. Was it true that I had enough money at that time? Wow, what a fascinating exercise. Well, I'm here now. I had enough nourishment. I had enough food. I had a quiet house. I was sitting on the same couch as the place that a couch now exists, in the same room. Just a few, years later, many years later. It's the same space. So obviously something happened and I wound up having enough. Something continued. A thread of life moved forward. Reality moved the way it did. So there was enough. I survived. I lived. My thinking will not have enough of that. It won't have enough nourishment or comfort or food, like food for thought that's healthy, supportive, nourishing, sustaining. Money, what is money to us? Usually it's like survival, support, freedom. My thinking doesn't have enough of that. It's not supportive enough. It's not free enough. It's not sustainable. It's my thinking that doesn't have enough of that quality. Not life, not the world. My thinking about it doesn't have enough. It's not enough. It's not broad enough. It's not expansive enough. And finally, an interesting turnaround is, wow, I don't have enough of that. Interesting. Yahoo. What could we do? What creative, interesting thing can it be if I wasn't scared of not having enough? Is this something very interesting about this? In the work we do, the work of Byron Katie, there's one thing called the turnaround to number six. And it just means when we say, I don't ever want, to suffer, I don't ever want to not have enough. And we can say, I am willing to not have enough of that. Could that be true? Can I find examples? And then I look forward to not having enough of that. Because what could happen next? What could I learn? What could I notice? What could I receive? What could I find out? I found out so much by not having enough money. It was amazing. One of the key things being money was not required for happiness. Money wasn't required for freedom. So same with the food and eating, just being in the place it is, like thinness isn't required for freedom or happiness either, or approval or respect, any of it. And just noticing if I think I'm not going to have enough food at some point and suffer, that I can still be relaxed even though hungry, and relaxed even though full, and not brutal towards myself or mean. So just staying with and holding that thought and living that turnaround, being in that turnaround, especially in these difficult times. I don't have enough safety. I do have enough safety. Noticing examples of that rather than the mind running towards examples of how there isn't enough. There is. Could be just as true. So lots of love, everybody. Take good care of yourselves and keep on inquiring. All right. Lots of love.